everything changed in a matter of seconds. You know, in the NFL, windows of opportunity, they don't slowly close, they slam shut. And for the Houston Texans, coming off the historical weight of back-to-back deep playoff runs, well, the 2026 offseason isn't just another summer of preparation, not even close. It is a high-stakes, absolutely ruthless war for ultimate roster supremacy. The expectations right now, they are literally crushing. We are looking at a franchise standing on the razor's edge between building a legitimate, multi-year dynasty and watching their championship dreams just get completely swallowed by the harsh realities of salary caps and sudden, devastating injuries. Every single snap, every dollar, every rep in this mandatory minicamp carries absolute, defining weight. Welcome to this deep dive explainer of the Texans' most critical offseason yet. You're watching NFL Nexus. Listen, if you want to survive the brutal realities of the NFL offseason, you need to subscribe to the channel right now, hit that like button on this explainer, and comment on what you thought down below. And to truly support the channel and get exclusive access to our deep dives, become a channel member today. All right, the battlefield is set. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. To really understand the gravity of Houston's situation right now, we have 4 distinct areas to cover. First, the 2026 financial snapshot. Second, OTA winners and risers. Third, OTA losers falling behind. And finally, the critical LB3 battle. Section 1, the 2026 financial snapshot, the war chest. Because look, you absolutely cannot win a championship on the field if you lose the war in the front office. $27.7 million. I mean, just let that massive figure sink in for a moment. This isn't just leftover change. This is the Texans' effective cap space entering minicamp. They currently rank 8th in the entire NFL in effective cap room. And historically, having massive cap space in June is the ultimate weapon. You might be wondering, why is being 8th in effective room specifically so dangerous in late summer? Well, because it allows them to weaponize the waiver wire during final roster cuts in August. Think about it. When other contenders are scraping the bottom of the barrel, right, frantically restructuring contracts and cutting genuinely talented depth players just to afford their practice squad, Houston is sitting back with nearly $28 million in pure, unadulterated ammunition. They can absorb a massive contract via trade at literally the 11th hour. So the question is, will they hoard it for mid-season emergencies, or will they drop a financial nuclear bomb on the free agent market right after minicamp concludes? The speculation around the league right now is absolutely definite. And this right here is where the sheer genius of their roster construction reveals itself. $215.4 million. That is their active cap spending. They are actually in the bottom 5 of total cap spending in the entire NFL. They're spending the same amount of active cash as teams like the Cleveland Browns and the New Orleans Saints. But here's the critical difference, and this is exactly why this matters. Franchises like Cleveland are paralyzed by massive, fully guaranteed quarterback cap hits, while New Orleans has spent years famously kicking the can down the road with void years, fielding aging veterans on bloated, massive deals. Houston, on the other hand, is actively exploiting the ultimate championship cheat code. And what is that? C.J. Stroud on a rookie contract. They have the overwhelming strength of a premium, top-tier roster, but the unparalleled financial agility of a rebuilding team. For the rest of the league, it's a terrifying advantage. Now, what's really fascinating about this slide is it shows the agonizing reality of NFL business. Even absolute masterclasses in team building have skeletons in their closet, right? And Houston's closet holds a staggering $66.5 million anchor of dead money just weighing them down. This is the brutal cost of ruthless roster turnover. Look at that massive bleeding wound right there on the chart. A terrifying $23 million hit purely from trading offensive lineman Titus Howard to the Cleveland Browns. Now, why on earth would they eat that much cash? Because the front office identified a fundamental scheme mismatch. Taking a $23 million punch to the gut right now was deemed a necessary evil. It's like ripping off a giant financial band-aid to completely clear his contract off the books, ensuring total financial flexibility for 2027 and beyond. Then you add in the $11 million hit from Christian Kirk's previous contract restructure and over $7 million each for Shaq Mason and Cam Robinson. Dead money has historically destroyed dynasties before they even begin. I mean, just imagine this roster if they had that $66.5 million back in their pockets to spend on active players today. It's wild to think about. Section 2. OTA winners and risers, the current arsenal, because let's be honest, the boardroom numbers mean absolutely nothing once you step between the white lines. Here we see the stark, cinematic contrast of life in the National Football League. You are either hunting or you are being hunted. On one side, we have the terrifying evolution of a superstar. Will Anderson Jr. is achieving total dominance out there.
Following his All-Pro campaign, he hasn't just maintained his level, he has evolved into an entirely new tier of monster. But then on the other side, look at the shrinking window for last year's starting center, Jake Andrews. Andrews had some highly specific struggles last season. We're talking serious anchor issues against power-rushing nose tackles and crucial missed assignments in the zone-blocking scheme. In the NFL, loyalty only goes exactly as far as your last bad tape. Andrews is the predator right now. Andrews is finding out exactly how quickly a starting job can slip through your fingers when the front office actively brings in new blood.
Just read those words from head coach DeMeco Ryans and really feel the weight of what that actually means. I'm probably going to have to sit him out here soon. We have to be able to actually practice. He isn't just hyping up his guy for the media. He is flat out admitting that Will Anderson Jr. literally wrecked the Texans' offensive install. Anderson's specific pass rush repertoire has expanded exponentially over the offseason. His dip and rip move is noticeably faster, and his bull rush is now just devastatingly powerful, constantly collapsing the pocket before plays can even develop. He broke the drills. He completely destroyed the timing of the offense. When your pass rusher forces the head coach to pull him off the field just so the offense can functionally execute a single play, you are looking at a monstrous leap. For the rest of the league, this isn't just news. This is a nightmare scenario.
Let's move over and see how this builds on the offensive side of the ball, because these guys are actively rewriting the depth chart. Lewis Bond, a 6th-round draft pick, is completely ignoring his Day 3 draft profile. Coming out of college, scouts questioned his top-end speed, but right now, his incredibly smooth route running and suddenness out of his breaks are quite literally forcing his way into a loaded wide receiver room, stealing first-team slot reps away from established veterans. That is unheard of. Then you have Jaden Higgins, utilizing his massive catch radius to take a monumental leap from his rookie season. He is cementing himself as the undeniable WR2 opposite Nico Collins. And please, do not overlook Jalen Knoll. He is establishing himself as a highly dangerous yak monster, yards after catch, proving to be an absolute mismatch in the slot and a lethal weapon in the return game. The passing attack under Stroud is mutating into something entirely undefendable.
Section 3. OTA losers falling behind. Fading hopes. The NFL is a zero-sum game. The margin for error is exactly 0.
Marlon Klein, a 2nd-round rookie tight end. The official diagnosis is a minor hamstring injury. But let me tell you, in the NFL offseason, there's absolutely no such thing as a minor injury for a rookie. Let's detail exactly what he is losing right now while he sits on the sideline. Klein is a raw project who desperately needs the install phase. By sitting out OTAs, he is missing out on mastering the incredibly complex run-blocking schemes required in this offense. And honestly, more importantly, he is missing out on the irreplaceable, microscopic timing required to run routes with C.J. Stroud. Hamstrings are notoriously tricky, right? They linger. They bite back just when you think you are finally at full speed. This setback is costing a high-investment player the absolute most critical developmental reps of his young, fragile career. It's brutal.
And this slide right here brilliantly illustrates the cold, calculating sequence of NFL business. This is the center succession plan. Step 1. Identify the weakness and aggressively draft Keelan Rutledge at pick 26. Rutledge's college tape showed an absolute mauler, with a remarkably high football IQ, making him a vastly superior fit for Houston's zone-blocking scheme. Step 2. Immediately inject Rutledge into the first-team reps during OTAs. Just throw him in the deep end. Step 3. Systematically and ruthlessly phase out Jake Andrews. The front office saw the tape last year, they made their decision, and they executed this replacement without a single drop of sentimentality. It's just pure business. Andrews might technically survive on the 53-man roster as depth, but his role as a starter is evaporating before his very eyes.
The roster math in the tight end room right now is utterly claustrophobic. We're talking about 5 incredibly talented men, but very few chairs when the music finally stops in August. Dalton Schultz is the locked-in TE1, no question. Foster Moreau's blocking totally secures his spot. Marlon Klein, despite that hamstring injury we just talked about, has the ultimate protection of high draft capital. You don't just cut a second-rounder. But then, an unforeseen disruption happened. Brevin Jordan has exploded as a massive surprise OTA standout. Jordan's sudden, dynamic versatility, lining up as an H-back, playing inline, splitting out to the slot, it's actively demanding a roster spot. And because Jordan found this new elite level, he is unfortunately making Cade Stover redundant. Stover did absolutely nothing wrong, but because of Jordan's rapid rise, Stover's entire professional livelihood is suddenly terrifyingly close to the roster axe. It is a suffocating numbers game, and someone is going to lose.
Section 4. The critical LB3 battle. The next battlefield. The coaching staff had a perfect plan, and then disaster struck. EJ Speed is out for the entire 2026 season with quad surgery. This is a massive blow. Because Speed wasn't just a death piece, he was the primary enforcer. He was the safety net, the crucial LB3 who started 9 games last year. To really understand the scale of this loss, you have to look at the historical importance of the third linebacker and DeMeco Ryans' specific defensive scheme. Dating all the way back to his days coordinating that legendary San Francisco defense with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, Ryans requires linebackers who operate as dynamic chess pieces. Guys capable of stuffing the run in the trenches and then dropping deep into coverage on the very next play. The front office trusted Speed so much they literally just handed him a 2-year extension. And now, he's gone. This leaves a massive leadership and structural void directly behind Azeez Al-Shaair and Henry 2020.
So, who steps up? Just pause and let the sheer gravity of this unresolved question sink in for a moment. This isn't a battle for some meaningless special team spot at the bottom of the roster. Whoever wins this war will be exactly one rolled ankle away from starting in the middle of a Super Bowl-containing defense. The stakes literally could not be higher. So, the crucial point we need to focus on is this agonizing 3-way war, and we need to meticulously break down the combatants. First up, Marte Mapu, a versatile veteran traded from New England, boasting nearly 800 NFL snaps. Look at Mapu's coverage grades during his peak with the Patriots. He was a highly capable hybrid defender, but he was phased out last year, playing barely over 100 snaps. He is fighting for his professional life right now. Second, the rookie, Wade Wadaz. He has ideal size, and his college run-stop win rate was just absolutely off the charts. He brings the sheer, unapologetic violence that DeMeco Ryans absolutely salivates over on film. But the question remains, can a rookie process the mental game of the NFL fast enough? Third, Jamal Hill, the longest tenured of the group with 2 years in Houston. He'll transition from safety to linebacker, meaning his processing speed in the box is still developing. But he possesses elite veteran defensive back traits that act as a pure coverage mismatch eraser on third downs. 3 men, 3 completely different skill sets, one massive void to fill.
Now, if you have to look closely at the tea leaves today, there is a clear front runner. Mapu holds the ultimate advantage because of his pure, unadulterated NFL experience. You simply cannot simulate 800 snaps in the trenches of the National Football League. However, there is a massive caveat that could completely derail him. Mapu is coming from the Patriots system, which was entirely rooted in Bill Belichick's classic read-and-react philosophy. He must now survive the brutal, complex mental transition into DeMeco Ryans' aggressive, attack-first, gap-shooting defensive scheme. It requires entirely different instincts. If he can adapt his versatility and seamlessly find his groove in this new playbook, his size and history make him the exact type of weapon Houston desperately needs to plug the bleeding left by EJ Speed. But that is a huge if.
Which brings us full circle to end this analytical journey with a massive league-shifting question that ties right back to our financial snapshot. We know about the linebackers, but what about the pass rush? Danico Autry is gone, Derek Barnett is gone, the edge depth behind the starters is completely unproven. So, does Nick Caserio trust these young OTA standouts to protect Will Anderson's flank, or do they look at that $27.7 million war chest, survey the landscape, and drop a financial nuclear bomb on a veteran free agent edge right before training camp? Names like Emmanuel Ogbah, Yannick Ngakoue, or Carl Lawson could suddenly find themselves in a Texans uniform by August. The money is there, the need is there, it's just a matter of when they pull the trigger. And guys, this is the reality of the 2026 Houston Texans. The money is loaded, the superstars are evolving into monsters, and the absolute most critical battles are just beginning. Welcome to NFL Nexus. If you are a focused learner who wants the unvarnished, cinematic truth about the NFL, you need to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that like button on this explainer, drop a comment down below with who you think wins this massive LB3 battle, and please support the channel by becoming a channel member today so we can keep making these deep dives. Until next time, keep your eyes on the war chest.